Deputy Minister of Local Government, members of the Fourth Estate, good afternoon. Welcome to our usual Thursday press briefing that comes to you every Thursday at this ministry. As always, we start with the updates for the day, for the week. His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Madabiu, has visited the Old Frobey College and the National Railway Museum at Klein Town. In a brief statement, President Biu informed his audience that his government puts a lot of premium on human capital development so as to leapfrog the country's development aspirations. He noted that for a long time now, Sierra Leone has been faced with so many challenges that has left the country far behind other nations. He encouraged all to join his government so that together we will work for the development of our country. The 2021 Best Freedom Index published by Reporters Without Borders indicate that Sierra Leone has moved 10 places upwards in this year's ranking. Sierra Leone now occupies 75th position out of 180 countries assessed. This is largely owing to the fact that President Julius Madabiu, in fulfilling his manifesto commitment, repealed Part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act, which criminalized defamation and press offenses. The repeal was done in August 2020, while the Independent Media Commission law was also revised. Journalists are now practicing their trade without the fear of being arbitrarily arrested under the draconian Part 5 of the 1965 Public Order Act. The Media Reform Coordinating Group MRCG, with support from the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Ghana, today launched a study on the state of safety of journalist policies and practices among media houses in Sierra Leone. The study examined the safety of journalist policies and practices in 44 media outlets, radio and television stations, newspapers and online media across the country. The key issues assessed are the trends of safety of journalists, issues including types of violations, perpetrators, gender of victims, number of media outlets that have a safety policy or manual for their media institutions. The government of President Julius Madabiu has, through the Ministry of Finance, paid the sum of 66 billion leones as advanced mobilization and commissioning of the transmission and distribution networks in Machu, Banff, Pujaun, Kabala, Kabia, Kailaon, and Moyamba townships. The contractors have already commenced the supply and installation work across the aforementioned district headquarter towns. Further payments will be made as per contract terms during the course of the project's life, the Ministry of Finance has assured. The World Bank has said that it is working with Sierra Leone to help produce quality and credible data that will contribute to the attainment of the national development goals of the country. Under the Harmonizing and Improving Statistics in West Africa project, HISWA, a $30 million grant was allocated to Sierra Leone to strengthen its statistical system. One of the activities supported by the project is the National Midterm Census, which will be implemented by Statistics Sierra Leone, Sierra Leone, and includes the rollout of a digital census for the first time in Sierra Leone, an important innovation that requires careful planning. The World Bank, Stats SL, representatives from the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, the Statistics Council, as well as the United Nations Population Fund and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, have held several technical preparating meetings, and Stat SL is now ready to start the cartographic mapping of the entire country. First phase of the census. That's all we have for you as updates for today. We go on to the issues of the day. Like I mentioned, we have this afternoon in our midst the Minister of Local Government and his deputy, and also the Minister of Labour has just joined us. As you will recall, the Ministry of Local Government on the 8th of May 2020 sent a letter to the Mayor of Freetown raising concerns relating to the content of a leaked audio. In that letter, the Ministry of Local Government asked the Mayor to do an apology to the people of Sierra Leone for the hurt caused by her utterances in the said audio. In that same letter, the Mayor was informed of the setting up of an independent administrative inquiry team to look at the recent employment practices of the Freetown City Council and how they have impacted on its administrative and fiduciary management. The Minister of Local Government, Tamala Mina, is here with us this afternoon, and I would like to invite him to the podium to give us more insight into this development.
Thank you very much, Minister and Chair of this press briefing, Minister, President, Deputy Minister, members of the Fourth Estate. It's a pleasure to be here again, albeit on matters which do not sit very well with the ministry. As I stated earlier, the issue that I'm about to talk about is a matter of public interest, and hence I believe that the public needs to be kept abreast of the issues as they transition. You may recall that some time ago we wrote to the Mayor of Freetown City Council requesting that she unequivocally apologizes to the public on hurtful statements that she had made to a section of the population. Since then, as a ministry, we also informed the Mayor that we were to form an independent administrative investigation of Freetown City Council, mainly on administrative matters and how they also border on relationships and that of the fiduciary management of FCC. Today, I am here on behalf of the ministry to inform you that based on remarks or statements that have come or complaints that have continued to come to the ministry, we're still requesting that the Mayor of Freetown makes an equivocal apology without excuses to the public for statements that have hurt so many part of the population. The remarks, whilst being unacceptable, has caused so much pain to the people that have complained to the ministry. In that regard, the authorization based on the content of the audio and issues that emerged in the audio required the ministry, as a responsible ministry of state, to look into those issues that were raised by the Mayor of Freetown. In that regard, we have developed as a ministry terms of reference for that investigation. And I'll read from the terms of reference. The inquiry itself will last for 3 weeks, and it will require 2 weeks of in-depth investigation and inquiry within Freetown City Council or its environs or related environs, but also another week wherein the report will be compiled for submission to the ministry. The terms of reference will be as follows. 1. To review the human resources arrangements in the council, that is including recruitment, job allocation, performance management, discipline, etc. To assess the general administration of the council, management structure, functions, decision-making, records management, delegation of roles and responsibilities, etc. 3. To review the composition and functioning of standing committees as per the Local Government Act of 2004 and to determine their effectiveness otherwise. 4. To assess the quality of financial management, adhering to policies and regulations, as well as resource and funding utilization and documentation. 5. To assess the general work or operating environment, attention to functional relationships between management and staff, staff relations at various levels, etc. And lastly, to assess the general execution of the Council's mandate of service delivery to community empowerment and development. I want to note that as a ministry, our key mandate is to support local councils and supervise local councils. And in no way the intention is to pursue issues that do not matter. As a council, as a ministry, we have, over the years, completed capacity assessment, that is of all local councils, with the aim of developing a capacity strategy. That has been developed and currently under implementation. The retreat in Bo, roughly about 4 weeks ago, is a significant testament to that effect. The retreat encompassed core staff of all local councils, all the 22 local councils, and also mayors and chairpersons. It is very clear that the ministry has always been very supportive to councils. I want to inform as well that last year, towards the midpoint last year, we instituted another administrative inquiry in Waterloo Rural District Council. The purpose of that was as a result of a trigger by staff in the councils relating to non-NACIP payment and also numerous issues. So the ministry acts on triggers. Firstly, we have to look at whether it's really necessary for the ministry to delve in. Again, I want to state that human resource management is quite critical for effective service delivery to the population of our nation. I want to note that a few weeks ago, we received a letter from a farm, a legal firm, stating that they were representing the mayor of Freetown. I want to state that the firm has actually got no business in the matters that are internal matters which sit under the purview of the Ministry of Local Government. I want to make reference to the point, Part 14 of the Local Government Act, which clearly states the responsibilities of the ministry. As a ministry, we are expected to inspect and monitor the activities of every local council to ensure that it acts within the scope of the Local Government Act. As a ministry, we are also expected to provide the necessary support for such inspection and monitoring of the activities of the council. Subject to other enactments, an authorized person carrying out such inspections shall have power to enter and inspect the premises of the property of any council as may be relevant to the inspection. To inspect books of accounts, records, stores, and any other documents that require any person to produce, and any documents or items connected with the inspection, and where necessary, retain any documents or items connected with the case being investigated. We are also expected to look into any matter on or initiative upon complaints made to us as a ministry. I needed to read that from Part 14 with the responsibilities that guide us as a ministry of the Local Government Act. Again, I want to state that a 7-man committee will be announced shortly, and this work will take its effect. I need to again state categorically that the ministry acts on triggers, and triggers of the nature that emerge from the audio of the Mayor of Freetown City Council cannot be ignored. They are very serious, and clearly we need no excuses to actually delve into the council to look at the situation in there with regards to the matters that she raised in her audio. I want to thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I'm sure our colleagues from the media are getting ready with their questions, so I would encourage you guys to get ready, because after the Minister of Local Government will invite questions from you. Sorry, the Minister of Labour. The government of Sierra Leone on Wednesday, 21st April 2021, lifted a ban on overseas employment, a move that will ensure that Sierra Leoneans get access to jobs abroad. This development, beginning from May, will see many Sierra Leoneans recruited for job opportunities overseas. It could be noted that a ban to address the many challenges faced with the labor and migration process overseas was instituted in February 2019 by the government of Sierra Leone. And the Minister, Alfred Timbu, is here with us this afternoon, and I would like to invite him to throw more light on this issue. Mr. Minister, please.
Well, thank you very much, Minister, Minister of Information, Minister of Local Government, Deputy Minister of Local Government, members of the Border State, our guest from Ghana, Dr. Ukansi. Now have the privilege of saying a few words with respect to what the Minister has just said as a way of intro. I have here with me my information officer, who has been pressing me from last 2 weeks that I should come to the Ministry of Information. I see when you face the journalists, you should have a message for them. So I see you should not come there. And today we are here on just this issue that has to do with labor migration. And I have with me our sister from Ghana, who will be giving more highlights on what I will be saying this afternoon. Let me just say, labor migration has been in existence and will always continue to be in existence. But what has happened over the years, especially within the African context, we always misunderstand the difference between regular, regulated, legal migration as against human trafficking. Right? So when you want to put the two together, then there you miss the point. The issue of people moving from their countries to other countries is not a phenomenon that started today. Yesterday, my sister made us know that even the Holy Prophet Muhammad had to move. Those of you who are Christians also, you know that.
That's Israel.
Right? They also move. Right? They move for different purposes. Some people leave for them to be able to pursue further studies. Within the process, they engage in something else. But some migrate essentially to go and seek for employment. And the situation is not different from here in Sierra Leone. I, as Minister of Labour, I issue work permits to aliens that come to Sierra Leone to work. We have them in the NGOs, we have them in the construction industry, we have them in various fields. So in Sierra Leone, I met the ban on labor migration, and I thought that was a situation that we should not allow to last long. I will not say we are ill-advised, It was as a result of the events that were taking place then, when we were seeing over the print and social media how our Sierra Leonean compatriots have been treated overseas, especially those that took upon themselves to travel to go and look for jobs. We saw some of them are maltreated. A lot of bad things are shown in the print and the electronic media. But then that is an aspect of migration which I will leave for my sister to explain to you at some point. But once the system is regulated, proper procedures are put in place, then there is a whole lot of benefits that countries can derive through legal migration. So what we have done as a ministry was to appeal to our colleagues, His Excellency the President, the Vice President, for them to know that the time has passed for us to continue to maintain the lift, so for us to continue to maintain the ban on overseas migration. And thank God yesterday we were able to successfully get our colleagues, and I want to especially recognize the effort that was made by the distinguished Minister of Information here and our colleague local government in putting up strong arguments as to why the ban should be lifted. Today the ban has been lifted, and I want to inform members of the public that we are ready to go to make sure that those Sierra Leoneans who have the expertise, the capabilities, the qualifications for them to be able to go and work overseas are provided with the opportunity to go and work overseas. We have reached 3 main agreements. We have an agreement between the government of Sierra Leone and the state of Qatar. This is government to government. We also have the agreement between the government of Sierra Leone and the state of Kuwait. These are government-specific programs, and yesterday we signed the agreement between the government of Sierra Leone and the SOS Labour Ghana. She will talk more about that, but what we expect from SOS Labour Ghana, they have the international experience, they have done this thing for the past 20, 30 years, they have the opportunity of securing jobs globally, and they will be making sure that they assist us in structuring out our labor migration system here by ensuring also that we secure more jobs. So I'm pleased to say that as I speak, we are ready to go. We are currently trying to put the systems in place. After here, we'll be meeting with the local recruitment agencies that have already been issued out with license the last time for them to undertake recruitment of Sierra Leonean workers both internally as well as externally. I have reassessed them. We have visited various workplaces for us to be able to determine those who are suitable that can partake in this process. Everything has to be digitized, because at the end of the day, every Sierra Leonean that leaves the shore under this particular program, we should be able to account for that particular individual, where he or she is working, and the status as well as the welfare of those Sierra Leoneans that are going abroad to go and work. So at this juncture, I want to, with your permission, invite our sister, Dr. Okansi, to briefly come and explain to members of our fourth estate as to what the program will be like, and what benefits that we have to accrue as Sierra Leonean, as well as the government of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And I know she has something for the minister, because let me leave it there. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, Honorable Afatimbo, Honorable Ministers, distinguished members of the press, and distinguished members of this beautiful land that we love, Sierra Leone. I want to let you know that I'm a great-granddaughter of Sierra Leone. I'm from Ghana, and my great-grandfather was from Sierra Leone, and his name was William Thomas. And so this is home for me. This is my second home. So it gives me great pleasure to be here. I was here last year in January, and we started this process to look at labor migration legalization. I'm a member of the African Union Labor Migration Advisory Committee, we advise African governments on legal migration. The problems that we're seeing in Sierra Leone and Ghana is not just a West African problem. We visited, the African Union Labour Migration Advisory Committee has visited all the 8 regional economic communities, and we found that the issues are very similar. And so we decided to encourage African governments for us to take migration very seriously, because migration is directly related to development. And when migration is done legally, we can have development. But when there's irregular migration, we have migration and disaster. When COVID-19 hit in the year 2020, we saw a lot of our women being sick, stranded, and suffering. The system that had broken down was exacerbated by COVID-19. We saw that the structures we had, or lack of structures, ensured that our women who had traveled overseas had traveled in a particular employment system called kafala. Kafala is not even employment, it's slavery or near slavery. And Asia had recognized this many years ago, and so the Asians have refused to work in kafala. But because we in Africa did not have the knowledge of what kafala is, we go through kafala. It breaks my heart as a mother to see our daughters being abused overseas. And so for 11 years, I've been doing research, and this research resulted in this book called Deadly Work or Decent Work, which is the SOS Africa Middle East Domestic Workers Migration Process. And in this book, which I would like every policymaker to have, it outlines the various different kinds of employment systems in the Middle East. I specialize in the Africa Middle East corridor. Now in this book, it tells you which systems are very good. The Asians are enjoying a system called Tabir, and another one, a new one from Saudi Arabia called Musane, where the people have a day off. Their passports are not taken from them. They are not sexually harassed. They have 30 days off. They are brought back 2 years with a ticket. They have vacations, and they are treated with dignity. But that's only open mostly to Asian countries and a few, 1 or 2% Africans who know of these channels. And so now what we're doing is opening the doors to all African nations to become privy that decent job exists. We're doing it. And so we need to fight irregular migration because it causes disaster for us as Africans. I'm very pleased to note that the other part of the equation in giving this to the minister is training. Many of our women are brought from rural communities. They've never seen a microwave microwave oven before. They don't know washing machine. They don't know stoves and drying machines. They don't know how to use all these irons and all these little digital things that have come, which is what they go and meet when they get on the job. There was a young lady who was asked to fry chicken. She was asked to fry egg. She took the egg, put the oil, and then stuck it in the microwave and almost blew somebody's house. So we, as the people of Africa, I spent a year in the Philippines. They have a structured migration process. They train their people, certify them before they go. Africans are making between $200, $250, $300 a month. Filipinos are making $400, $500, $600 a month because they are certified. And so this is our certified program, which is a thorough program, helps our people to do even personal hygiene. Some of the women who are working as housemen, when they lift their arms, the whole place has to be shut down. And so you know exactly what I'm talking about. We want to make sure that Africans are respected. We must command respect through training and making sure that our low-skilled workers are converted into semi-skilled workers, so that when they get overseas and they see a microwave, they know what it is, and they can command the necessary respect instead of provoking anger. One man said 6 of his silk shirts, these shirts are $1,200 and above each, was burned by a housemaid who did not know anything about ironing, brought from a village in Africa through irregular migration or human traffic. And these are the things that are happening. I am so proud to be able to call Sierra Leone my second home. I'm so proud of the Minister of Information of Sierra Leone and the many ministers of the Cabinet of Sierra Leone, the President, His Excellency, the fountain of honor and justice, indeed, and His Excellency the Vice President and the Cabinet, the distinguished Cabinet of this lovely nation, that yesterday God in His sovereign wisdom set a date, April 21, 2021, that the children of Sierra Leone deserve decent jobs. That the daughters of Sierra Leone should no longer be crying out, sick, stranded, and suicidal in the Gulf nation, but rather they should have the opportunity of decent work of dignity. And so it gives me great pleasure to present this book, these two books, to our Minister of Information. In addition, Honorable Minister, I give you this bracelet, which our kings wear in Ghana. It represents the red and black, which is deadly versus decent. It also has a symbol here leading to Sierra Leone's independence that's coming up on the 27th of April, as Sierra Leone turns 60. It is my distinct pleasure to present this bracelet to you. This symbol here is an Adinkra symbol from Ghana, which is a symbol of interdependence. Migration is not something anyone can do alone. Without the fight and the zeal of the Minister of Labor and Social Security, who was determined to make sure that the children of Sierra Leone will no longer languish in deserts or die in boats or die in the Gulf. He fought. Year in, month in, we've been communicating for a whole year. And today, backed by many outstanding ministers, like Honorable Minister of Information, it's about interdependence. We have independence, but interdependence is a higher level. Even in heaven, there's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen?
Amen.
I don't want to preach, but but there's that. And so I was so impressed with you yesterday, Honorable Minister. And I believe that this country is blessed to have you as the Minister of Information. And I want to say, continue to work with the Minister of Labor. With interdependence, I know that this nation is going to be a beacon of hope for the rest of Africa. We also know that many African countries are continuing to hold on to a ban. Sierra Leone is going to lead and have the light for a new day for the rest of Africa. I thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Reverend Dr. Kansi. By the way, she is the CEO of SOS Labor Network, Chairperson Yvoone Aki Ghana, member of the African Union Labor Migration Advisory Committee. Just to let you know that as a government, we remain very committed to our people, and we will continue to do that because we came in on a platform of a new direction to lead this country to an expected end. So thank you very much for acknowledging the efforts of my minister and of course the rest of the ministers and the government working for the betterment of our people. Again, quickly just to add on that the process to commence deployment starts next week according to the Ministry of Labor, and for the initial period we will be looking at 1,000 people. So again, members of the Fourth Estate, we allow you to put out this piece of information so that Sierra Leoneans can take advantage of this development. Now, we'll now turn the microphone over to you, members of the Fourth Estate. Questions, concerns, clarifications, we'll now invite them. Yes, we'll start with the gentleman in blue. Let us know your name and the media outfit that you represent.
Good afternoon. I'm Mohammed Sise. I work for A to Z Multimedia Corporation. My minister is directed to, my question is directed to the Minister of Local Government, Salmina. In the circumstance, the mayor refuses to apologize publicly as city manager. Is there any further action your ministry will take against her? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Larry Jackson.
Yeah, my name is Larry Jackson. I'm reporting for CTN Radio Victoria. My question is going to the Minister of Local Government. You spoke about an independent, you spoke about Suleiman Committee that will be set up to investigate issue. One may want to know the independency of this particular Suleiman Committee and what conclusion is going to be the wolf.
Yes, Mr. Banya from AIV.
My question is for the Minister of Labour. I want to know the investigation of the mayor. Was it based on complaints made, and who made that complaint against the mayor? Local government.
What did you say again?
The investigation for the mayor, as you said it earlier on, was it based on complaints made against her? And if it was a complaint, who made that complaint?
Thank you. Yes, there's a gentleman here.
Yeah. That's most of my rights for people's paper. Two questions, one for the Labour Minister and the other for the local government. First, the local government minister. So, Minister, the audio that went viral, we are all aware of it. But are you doing this? Because one thing we know, the APC has been in control of the city for long. Is this inquiry, is it in the best interest of this country, or are you doing it so that people will not see it as a political something? That's one question. Now to the Labour Minister. Mr. Minister, this ban lifting is a very good thing for the country, but are you aware that already we have brain drain issues in this country, and the abuse of Sierra Leoneans abroad, like our madam just said? Do we have this into cognizance when lifting this ban on labor abroad? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll take one more and then we'll come for the second set. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mohammed Amargado, writing for Beyond Borders newspaper. My question is for the Labour Minister, Mr. Amino. Local government, sir. Local government, sorry. My question is that, don't you think the mayor of Freetown is challenging the authorities of the Ministry of Local Government? And having said that, because since the press release from your ministry, her legal firm challenging your ministry authority that their clients have done nothing wrong for demanding her to make any public apology. Don't you think it's a challenge to the ministry?
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll come back for the second set. Then it's just about the minister's response. So we'll start with
Thank you very much. I think I'll start from the last question. You asked whether the mayor is challenging the ministry. I want to state that the ministry has a mandate to supervise local councils, and we have a responsibility, as I stated during my press briefing. As public officials, we are accountable to the public, and also we are also accountable to our supervising ministries. I think it is but appropriate that when we make statements that are completely unacceptable, especially to members of the public, that we take responsibility for those statements and be contrite in whatever apology that we make, so that the hurt that is caused, the wounds begin to heal. I think that's what I would say with regards to that. Is the inquiry in the best interest of this country? Of course. Again, as I said, we are an arm of government, a ministry of part of the executive of His Excellency the President, and we believe the new direction government has always been acting in the best interest of this nation. It doesn't mean that if a particular section of the population against what is genuine and responsible approach to governance, I do not think that that should make us not follow on our mandate as stated in the Local Government Act. I think the other question was investigation based on complaints. Who made the complaints? Members of the public. Of course, we were inundated by it was almost like a barrage of complaints that came to the ministry, and as a responsible ministry, that formed the trigger of why we were actually digging down very deep into the statement or the comments and concerns that have been raised by members of the public. It would be very irresponsible of the ministry if we don't look into these matters in order to understand and inform the public to whom we are accountable about what is actually prevailing in FCC. The composition of the 7-man committee. The committee is going to be of very erudite, experienced, responsible Sierra Leoneans who have had their own experience in various areas, and it will be a range of people with a combination of multiple experience that will form the 7-man committee. It will be independent because clearly they've demonstrated fairness and impartiality in whatever they've done in public life, and that's why we consider them as independent. Whether further actions, if no apology, of course, we are each and every one of us is responsible to the public. Sometimes when we come outright and say we are sorry, the public will understand exactly where we are. When we fail to do that, clearly it serves that we are not, or we are actually stating or in arms with the members of the public. This is not about me. This is about Sierra Leone and a greater part of the population. There is no need for any one of us. We have to be very humble because it's the people that got us where we are. And when the people are making the requests that they are unhappy with statements that have been made, I think any responsible public official should take notice and not provide excuses for why things happen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I will now go over to the Minister of Labour, Mr. Albert Yvoone.
Thank you very much. You talked about the brain drain. That's one of it, but I tell you, in the Ministry of Labour, we have so many registered people there. Graduates without jobs. So maybe after 10, 15 years, that will be the time we'll talk about this. But for now, the unemployment situation in the country is so high that the issue of green drain should not be too much of a problem. Of course, it is a managed system where we come to realize that there are certain skills that you still need, which we do not have the required, number. We always, adjust to make sure that we don't lose those kind of personnel for other countries. So it's going to be a flexible thing, but you will agree with me that you have so many of your colleagues today who are unemployed, who have gone through various institutions of learning, but still the system has not been able to provide space for them to be employed. So we have to make provision for them. I don't know if you want to add something.
Press down.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay now. Is it now?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Just
Thank
take your
you.
hands off now.
I'll take my hands off. Oh, okay.
You press the TV remote.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'd like to add to that. That's a very, very good question. The kind of migration we're speaking about is called temporary circular migration. It's not when people go for 10, 20, 30 years and you don't see them again. They go for 2 years, 3 years, and they bring capital back. Remittances for Africa is like 46 billion. Sierra Leone, because it's not measured, the numbers are around 63 million, but the Ministry of Finances is actually, with their own recorded remittance, about 250 to 400 million. Is what, so remittances is something that we need to look at. This program has 3 sections. We have decent jobs, cashiers, household workers, drivers, construction workers, and so on. That's decent jobs. We also have a diaspora national service. This program is looking to engage the diaspora. Sierra Leoneans who are overseas, who want to come to Sierra Leone and serve for a year or so. So they're going to bring skills here that will create other jobs for other people here. We also have a master's degree program. There are many, many graduates, they finish their university and there are no jobs. Some of you finish HND, there are no jobs. We have a $50,000 loan program that goes with this opportunity for our young people to be able to study, do a master's degree in the US and Canada and the EU, and be able to earn upwards of 80,000 if they go into the STEM area. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we are focusing in the STEM area because I know Sierra Leone already is pushing that STEM area as it is. We want to take it to the next level of a 5-year program in the US where they do 2 years of a master's program and 3 years working, earning upwards of 80,000 and sending remittances home. So you can imagine how much money it will create in the system. People will have money in their various chiefdoms, in their districts. They are sending money home to their families. And so when you talk about brain, it's actually a brain gain. It's a major brain gain program. Major. I don't think that anywhere has this level of, this particular design of the 3-prong. We have 1 of it, 2 of it in Ghana, but this is the first time we're doing the 3 pieces together, and Sierra Leone is the first to have the Transfer to Transform program in its totality. So it's brain gain, and that's what you should report. Brain gain for Sierra Leone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okansi. We'll take another round of questions and then we'll wrap it up. Yes, Valentine's, yes.
Mohammed Collins, I write for Senator. To the local government minister, before your press release last time, we saw a rush apology from the mayor. They were on TV. What's your reaction to that rush apology from the mayor the last time? And so the Minister of Labour. We are having problem with the registered organizations that are doing recruiting for overseas employment. We know there are a lot of mushroom organizations. How do you guard against those organizations that are not registered and want to take people from here to overseas? Again, I want to look at the challenges in overseas recruitment. Working in this sector for quite a long time, what has been your experience and what have been the challenges? And one last question I want to also ask has to do with how has the ban on overseas recruitment, how has it affected remittances to Sierra Leone?
Thank you very much, Mr. Ore. Yes. The gentleman at the back, you still want to ask a question? Yes, sir, from Citizen.
I'm Omodan Kamara, a journalist of New Citizen. My question here is for the Minister of Labour. What mechanism has been put in place to ensure that our colleagues working in other policies and in diaspora who are paid decent salaries and their welfare have been met? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have, yes, Mr. Vincent.
Vincent from New Vision newspaper, and to the Minister of Local Government, if the Mayor of Freetown City Council fails to cooperate with the committee set based on the terms of reference, what should be the next action of the ministry?
Many thanks to you. I see Mr. Jackson wants to ask another question. Okay, we'll just
Yeah, my name is Lai Jackson. I'm reporting for CTN Yvoone Aki. And with regards to the apology that the ministry is asking the mayor to give to the people of Sierra Leone. But immediately after the release of that particular audio, we saw a write-up from the Facebook page of the mayor. Let me directly from it. I want to categorically state that the tribalism created by the edited audio does not represent my value, actions, nor my track record. I would like to apologize to anyone who has been offended by the harmful and inaccurate interference. So I want to know what kind of apology again the ministry is trying to seek from the mayor with all this write-up from the mayor Facebook page and at AYV.
All right, thank you very much. We'll let the minister respond, and if you have follow-up questions, we'll take it. Answer the question.
Thank you very much. Unequivocal apology means without the excuses. You cannot say you apologize on one hand, but give excuses that your voice was tampered with. If you did what you did, a straight apology to say, I apologize for any hurt that I've caused. We have not considered the apology as genuine in any way whatsoever. And she was in contract in her apology. And that is why we're requesting that she actually makes an apology without lacing it with excuses, because people are still hurt. Because that apology that went out it's very clear that after the apology, more complaints came in from members of the public stating that she hasn't even apologized, she's giving excuses, that somebody tampered with her voice. Now, I think that deals with the rushed apology. Clearly, there's something called public confidence. When we work as public officials, our actions and inactions are actually viewed and assessed by members of the public, especially for us as politicians. And clearly, that act of confidence, when the confidence goes down in members of the public with regards to the conduct of public officials, it goes a long way and can actually, I would actually say that I have no doubt that the mayor would cooperate with the investigation as per the mandate of the ministry. We are mandated in terms of the responsibilities that we need to carry out for the public of Sierra Leone to ensure that when issues of this nature occur, we monitor and supervise the councils effectively and to inform members of the public about the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Mr. Labour?
Thank you again. You mentioned about the recruitment agencies. As I speak, they are now in the Ministry of Labour, waiting for us to go and address them. But let me just say, when I took over, and I knew I was going to drive home this particular issue. I had a database of all of those that have been registered, duly registered, and I have the database for them. In preparation for this lifting, I instituted a team that visited the various offices of these recruitment agencies to ascertain the suitability to those organizations to undertake this process. I received the report, invited them, drew their attention to the report, and determined those that are not going to be allowed to continue operations by virtue of the fact that they fall short of the expected standards. And at this meeting, I am going to inform them also that new certificates will be issued out to only those that are capable. That will be part of this process, to which the matrix have all been established, where they will have to be involved. That is part of their work. We also have to facilitate them, you know, because that is what they have taken as a profession. So in terms of the safety, to ensure everything works well, that is one of the strategies. We continue to restructure the process itself, but at the same time give people the opportunity to do what they want to do. That besides, I did mention about the agreements we signed, the Qatar agreement, the Kuwait agreement. In those agreements, enough safeguards are made there for the security of our people, where they are going, in terms of what they are doing, how they will come back. So I will not go to the substance of those agreements, no? But as a labor person, we know what type of agreements that we normally have to reach to ensure that the right thing is being done. Whilst we are speaking, we have just seen one of our sisters just entered. She can't stand. She's also from Ghana. All those that are going to leave the shores of this country will have to face, to go through a number of stringent scrutiny procedures that are going to go through. That is why we see this is legal. Those that take upon themselves to find the other ways of going, they have been doing that because the ban was there. Now they know they have the legal channel to follow, which is cheap for them, you know, it's safe. You'll find out that people will no longer find pleasure in going on to programs that are not safe for them. So in West Africa, there are only 2 accredited medical institutions that some of these employing agencies allow to certify their workers before they leave the shores of Sierra Leone. And theirs happened to be one. So she came with Dr. Okansi to come and see whether there are suitable infrastructure for us to be able to ensure that before they leave, they can be treated here. Otherwise, all these ones that we're talking about, they have to be flown first from here to Accra. There they will take the medicals, and in the event that they fail, right, it is costly. So we are exploring the possibility of them coming, and as you see, she has just come. She was going around. We have identified Ramsey as one of the institutions, Schumann Hospital. We will identify more and more. So they will also work with them to help capacitate them. We had wanted to use Connaught Hospital also, but at this time it failed some of the standards. But that is also an opportunity for us to be able to review some of our public institutions with a view to ensuring that, you know, it will meet the standards expected of them. So the medical is going to be provided then, and the police clearances are going to be obtained to make sure that all those that we are allowing to go have no criminal record and the rest of this thing. We are working with the Ministry of Internal Affairs. We are working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because currently some of the embassies are not operating here. Some of them are in Conakry. So to avoid also the movement of people from here to Conakry to obtain some of these visas, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is actively working on making sure that the opportunity, the facilities being provided, where passports will be sent there, and the visas will be issued without having problems to go there and come. So a lot of systems are going to be put in place to ensure that we get everything right, because as she said, the more we get it right, the better for all of us, because these are jobs that are always there, but if you don't put up the systems for you to have access to them, you go to other countries. You want to add something?
Yes, you asked me a question. You asked about the challenge.
The challenges, and I also asked about remittances, what we've lost as a country.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me show you this. Okay. Thank you so much for that question. Yes. One of the main challenges that I raise my heart for Africa is that migration has been demonized. Migration should not be demonized. Irregular migration should be demonized, but legal migration, and the two have been merged. Many people think, oh, you are going abroad, haven't you heard of that? Whatever is happening. You know, so we need to understand the difference between regular legal migration and irregular migration and human trafficking. All those dark. That's why I wrote the book, Deadly Work or Decent Work. It's a choice. And if you go the other way, you're going to end up in a very bad situation. But if you go properly, you do well. Kofi Annan went properly, Kwame Nkrumah went properly. Your president, His Excellency, went to the American University, he went properly. Your vice president went to Bordeaux in France, he went properly. Your chief minister went to Southampton, UK, they went properly. If other people go properly, they will be great. God promises it in Genesis 12, 1 to 3. So migration is God ordained, and when we do it right, it helps to grow people. I see a lot of young faces here, and I see a lot of young men here, and I look at their salaries. You could make very high salaries in 2 years, bring that money back, and become employers. Not everybody should wait for someone to give them a job. These opportunities will give you a chance to go 2-year, 3-year contracts, save your money, because in this program we do financial literacy before you go. The Honorable Minister has already arranged with the Ministry of Finance to head that piece up. So you'll be proactively traveling overseas with a 5-year economic plan to transfer and to transform your life. It's a transformation agenda. It's not just migration and the normal thing that you say. This program is very well structured, and it is structured for you to win as young Sierra Leoneans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Katsi. See the passion with this issue that you talk about. So I like the way you relate migration to the work. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap this press conference up, I would just like briefly to get the Minister of Information. He cannot be here without saying something. So let me invite him out to say a word or two, or 2 words.
This is not the news. The news is what you have. I'm just going to make a few announcements. Again, like Honorable Timbo mentioned, and like Dr. Kansley herself mentioned, this was not a decision taken lightly. His Excellency was very, very concerned. Cabinet was very concerned. They asked all the tough right questions about the safety of our citizens, right? Particularly in the wake of recent social media outrages about Sierra Leoneans and other Africans, going through very torturous moments in the places where they walk abroad. So this was very, very, very heatedly debated for hours, right? Before we had comfort, before we had assurances that indeed this will thrive, it will considerably help government to change the narrative, right? So this was a decision not taken lightly, but we are equally aware that continuing to effect the ban means alternative routes which end up in us losing very valuable contributors to the Atlantic and all of that. So we don't want that to continue. I mean, President Bio is a very compassionate person. He believes in opportunities for young people. He believes that the young must grow and he sees it as an investment in the next generation. So all of the necessary safeguards will be put in place, and I dare say very robust safeguards to ensure that it's indeed decent jobs, it's indeed jobs that will prepare you for the future, it's indeed jobs that will ensure that you are able to look after yourselves and your families, right? While at the same time contributing to national development. So tomorrow, again, we will be having a major stakeholders engagement on the cybercrime bill. Remember, on the 18th of March, under a dilatory motion, we were encouraged, very strongly encouraged by Parliament to broaden our scope of engagement so that more Sierra Leoneans become aware of the cybercrime bill. We are pleased to note that we have enjoyed a lot of cooperation from organized professional organizations, particularly the Sierra Leone Bar Association, which has been working with us, and they have made immense input into the bill. We are very grateful, and that's a partnership we cherish. We look forward to continuing to work with them. So tomorrow, we will be responding, officially to the concerns that the bill has generated among members of the public, so that we give them comfort, because this is not a retired brigadier bill. This is a Sierra Leonean bill. We want it to work for every Sierra Leonean, with the ultimate objective of ensuring that cyberspace is safe, is secure, and Sierra Leoneans are protected in digital space in much the same way they are protected here. Remember, Sierra Leone marks 60 years on the 27th, Tuesday. So I want to use this opportunity to make a clarion call to all of us. This is a great country. This country exudes a lot of potentials, a lot of opportunities. And let us during this period exude those things that make this country great. Sierra Leone is not just about an Okada strike. Sierra Leone is not just about famine and peril and all of that. We inherited a country that had a battered and shattered image abroad. His Excellency has been very clear about that. We have invested in rebranding the image of our country. We've invested in turning it around. And so at 60, the best we can give her is to extol those things that make us a great nation rather than those things that tear us apart. I am using this opportunity to appeal to the media. You had a 65-year-old criminal libel law. That has been expunged. Many governments have come and gone, but it was all motion, no movement. President Bureau has been bold, courageous, and audacious to repeal that. So today, I just came from a workshop jointly organized by the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists and the Media Reform Coordinating Group. They are talking about the safety and security of journalists. Yes, we now have the space to talk about that. So as we approach 60, which is incidentally sliced 50 years as well, let us bring those things in us that make this country tick. This country is not all about the bad news. Please, please, please. This is a special appeal. Thank you. Dr. Kansi, thank you very much. We just started this. We are in this for the long haul with you. And we really look forward to making sure that this works and it benefits our people. The next time you come, we'll probably, considering your deep seated Sierra Leonean roots, we might have to christen you a Sierra Leonean name. But that's for the future. It's a secret, you didn't hear it. Okay, so on that note, thank you very much. Wishing you a safe return home to the journalists. Thank you very much. Nobody's going to have an opportunity to ask you about unbondly and related issues. Thank you.